You're familiar with the Muffin song, right? Goes a little something like this. So yeah, totally lost my mind laughing at this when I watched it again. And not because of the content necessarily, strictly speaking, which is also hilarious, but underneath. Oh my gosh. Actual mental health recovery resources. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And at first, I'm like, oh man, I feel kind of bad. Should I really be laughing at this? But then I thought, nah. I actually have gotten to a place in my life where it's helpful to laugh about the bad times, the dark times, or whatever. Because I've been there too. Real talk, you know, there's been some days when I seriously wondered what the taste of buckshot was like, you know what I mean? But most wild thing I ever heard. Ready for this? The most wild statistic you might hear all day or ever about mental health recovery, statistics about any kind of treatment stuff, whatever. A few of the mental health professionals told me that more than likely those who seek treatment will experience recovery, or they will have their symptoms put into remission. More than likely meaning there's a greater than 50% chance that people who seek out serious help or treatment for their behavioral, psychomedical, psychological, whatever kind of way you want to describe it, they are more likely than not to actually find help, find recovery. I would have thought the opposite. You know, the complete opposite. Or at least definitely less than 50%. But we can't just take the word of what I heard from some people as the argument from authority. And that was through a filter of human memory years ago. So I just went and looked this up here. The National Alliance on Mental Illness. NAMI.org/MHStats. You are not alone. Mental health care matters. Fun facts, fast facts. 1 in 5 U.S. adults experience mental illness each year. 50% of all lifetime mental illness begins by age 14 and 75% by age 24. Suicide is the second leading cause of death among people aged 10 to 14. What? And it just goes on from there. There's a whole bunch of stuff here. Look, you can download the infographic. Isn't that cool? Data from CDC, NIMH, and other select sources. Find citations for this resource at nami.org/MHStats. Okay, well, see, I came here originally. I looked this up because I wanted to know what is the actual recorded likelihood of recovery rates that's been observed. Let's do a little Control F here. Citation. Solicitations. Only result. Source. Source says nothing. It refers back to itself. And unless I'm missing something, I don't see nothing here, man. So research? But that's not the link. This is a different URL, it said, to find the citations. Sorry, bro. No can do. That's not good enough. You're gonna have to do better than that. And apparently, doing better than that entailed going on Google Scholar for literally one search: mental health recovery statistics. Evaluate. Look at what returned here, just as a starting point. What an age we live in, huh? If you didn't know about this before, now you do. Here you go. If you want to just look for yourself, here, see for yourself. Mental health recovery, what helps and what hinders. Yeah, got a couple of them up right here. Incredible. 103-page full PDF document of a meta-analysis going over, how many sources is this? Look, a nice, neatly organized bibliography Recovery from mental illness, the guiding vision of the mental health service system in the 90s. Rehabilitation, the rehabilitation recovery paradigm, a statement of philosophy for a public mental health system. Oh yeah, this was a good one. Confessions of a non-compliant patient. Published in the National Empowerment Center newsletter, no less. Beautiful. The bases of social power. Discovery of grounded theory, strategies for qualitative research. Oh, interesting. As opposed to quantitative. So they're doing typing, categories. They're using words on this. Evaluating a measure of social health derived from two mental health recovery measures. The California Quality of Life and Mental Health Statistics. Let's open that up. The California Quality of Life and Mental Health Statistics Improvement Program Consumer Survey. Social health is important to measure when assessing outcomes in community mental health. Our objective was to validate social health scales using items from two broader commonly used measures that assess mental health outcomes. Participants were 609 adults receiving psychological treatment services. Items were identified from the California Quality of Life and Mental Health Statistics Improvement Program outcome measures by their conceptual correspondence with social health and compared to the Social Functioning Questionnaire using correlational analyses. Pearson correlations for the identified CA-QOL and MHSIP items with the SFQ ranged from 0.42 to 0.62, and the identified scale scores produced Pearson correlation coefficients of 0.56, 0.70, and 0.70 with the SFQ. Concurrent validity with social health was supported for the identified scales. The current inclusion of these assessment tools allows community mental health programs to include social health in their assessments. Wow. Wow. Interesting. So, reviewing two different questionnaires, or reviewing two different programs, and how that related, and what were they comparing again to the social functioning questionnaire. So, based on the abstract, if the understanding is correct, we are seeing positive coefficients to where 2.56, 0.70, and 0.70 respectively. These two measurements produced a favorable increase in responses on that SFQ on the questionnaire, meaning these people from these programs at least from the mental health, this thing, they were seeing, I mean, not negligible for sure. It's only one study, but man, you'll see it a lot that comes up in this stuff, like especially in the meta-analysis page, and this was a fun one too, evaluation of undergraduate nursing students' clinical confidence following a mental health recovery camp. I love how specific sometimes some of these studies can get. The most niche corners of thought. You'll see a lot in this come up, that social network, maybe that's a bad way to say it, your support network, your social variable to your life, your friends, your interactions. Sounds like common knowledge, right? Sounds like common sense, but it actually has been documented, qualified, and quantified often in literature how much, if there is one thing that definitely helps, yeah man, socializing some way. And yes, hearing someone's voice, hearing someone that you trust and care about over a microphone, even on a phone or whatever, or a video game, whatever, something does count. Video games are social nowadays. What an age we live in. But no, yeah, really. The basic idea is that if you have some kind of stimulus from another person, another organism, if it's not another person but another just organism like a dog, a cat, whatever, a peacock that you brought onto a plane, look up the video, then if that organism produces pleasant or enjoyable experiences or stimuli, provides positive stimuli to you regularly, then that thing is a positive social influence to you, right? More or less. Either way. So stuff like that, definitely, that's something that I will stand by unless somebody can produce some kind of list of studies, documentation, whatever. It says, no, you really ought to isolate. You ought to cloister in, not talk to anybody, don't look at anybody, spend time away. As far as I'm aware, there are certainly a few case studies, like autobiographical ones, of people who went and did that, like guy who locked himself, I don't remember the name of the book, whatever, if they made a book or something, but a guy locked himself in a room with just the internet for a year to prove the concept, right, of you could survive just ordering stuff, doing all of your business, whatever you have to do through the internet, getting food delivered, etc. And he did, and it drove him absolutely nutters. And pretty sure most every story like that pans out that way. So that's kind of the big picture, right? Is stuff that seems obvious may or may not be the case. Stuff that really seems crazy, for lack of a better word, might actually be the case. But sometimes, yeah, the stuff that it seems obvious, but people ignore it because it's like, well, yeah, duh, everybody says that, of course. But it's like, nah, man, you want to see some, like, how it stacks up against other approaches? It's like a core element that you'll hear from therapists, doctors, whatever, guidance people all the time. Why do you think people who have poor friendships or little friendships suffer so much? Man, that's such a rough place to be in. That's such a horrible place to be in. Like, no wonder. Although, so yeah, on that whole NAMI.org mental health stats thing, it did say that like 90% of people who commit suicide may have had or may have been experiencing mental illness beforehand. It's like, didn't want to immediately say, especially because who knows where that comes from. But it was so tempting to think, you don't say. But, you know, what would the other 10% be? What would you commit suicide for if you didn't have some kind of depression or mental illness or whatever, or weren't struggling with something? Maybe personality disorders? I don't know. Someone so committed to being a sociopath that they permanently, voluntarily remove themselves from society just like that? Who knows? Anyway, thanks for listening. I'm gonna go to sleep now. Have a good night. Or day, whatever.